everyone and welcome to my Wool Monty video. I am Helen and I am the dyer behind Giddy Yarns and I'm based up in Dundee, Scotland. I wanted to use this video firstly to introduce you to me and to introduce you to the things that inspire my colourways, and also to introduce you to the collections that I'm going to be having in the shop over the weekend of the Wool Monty. I am inspired by anything to do with nostalgia. That is my real passion. Whether that is childhood memories, whether that is books, stories of the past, even sweets. If it invokes that feeling of reminiscence, that feeling of nostalgia, then it inspires me and it really inspires my creativity. And you'll see that that kind of comes across in the collections that I tend to put in the shop. I'm going to be having 3 collections in the shop over the weekend of the Wool Monty. There's my bedtime story collection, my Flower Fairies collection, which is kind of new, and also my Cornwall collection. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm just going to take a little bit of time to kind of go into a bit more detail about each of those collections, and also at the end hopefully talk about a few kits for patterns that I've got in the shop as well. And hopefully that'll all be interspersed with fancy videos, fingers crossed. So the bedtime story collection came about from my love of reading as a child, but also from my 2 boys. I've got 2 boys, a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and they love a bedtime story. I mean, what child doesn't? But we've been reading more and more of my childhood favourites to Arthur, and it really inspired me to create a collection. So the collection contains 5 main colourways. There is George's Marvellous Medicine, The Railway Children, The Secret Garden, The Sea of Adventure and The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, and they will be available as full 100-gram skeins but also available as mini skeins for the first time. And in January I also had to create a colourway inspired by one of my favourite children's stories, and that is Winnie the Pooh. It was Winnie the Pooh Day in January, and as a result of that I released Pooh Sticks as a colourway, inspired by the classic game that they play of dropping the stick under the bridge, and also a bunch of minis inspired by my favourite Winnie the Pooh characters as well. In 2018, I ran a Flower Fairies yarn club, with each month being inspired by an image from the classic Flower Fairies collection and beautiful fairy images. And a lot of you have asked me to bring that back. Now, my style of dyeing has changed a lot in the last 2 years, so what I decided to do is revamp it and bring it up in line with my current style of dyeing, and that's what I've done. So I have picked 5 of my favourite flower fairies from the club: the Daisy Fairy, the Lavender Fairy, the Primrose Fairy, the Cornflower Fairy and the Acorn Fairy, and I have dyed them up to launch as a new Flower Fairies collection. They will be available again as 100-gram skeins, and they will also be available as mini skeins. Yeah, I'm really glad that I've done it. I know many of you missed out on the club because you didn't know me at the time. I was a relatively new dyer at the time, and this has really given me an opportunity to bring those colourways back, but much more in line with my current style. The Cornwall collection is really special to me. I grew up in Cornwall, despite the fact that I now live in Scotland, about as far away as I could possibly get. And in May of this year, I should have been going down to Cornwall for a yarn show and also to visit my family. But obviously, the current situation and the pandemic prevented that. And as a result, I decided to dye up a yarn collection inspired by my favourite things about Cornwall. So the collection consists of 3 colourways and also a bundle of minis. There is cream tea, which is of course a Cornish classic, and we won't get into which way round the jam and cream go. There is also Kynance, which is inspired by my absolute favourite beach in Cornwall, down on the Lizard. It is the most stunning beach. And then the 3rd colourway is called Flora Day, and that is inspired by a really special event that happens in my hometown on the 8th of May every single year. It's really difficult to explain, but if you have a Google of Helston Flora Day or have a look on YouTube, even better, you'll find some amazing videos that kind of explain it better than I can. And then there are 5 minis in the mini bundle, each inspired by my favourite things, from saffron cake and tin mines to the Coastal Path and Roskilly's ice cream, by far the best ice cream in Cornwall, and even the fact that seagulls always steal your pasty on the beach. And I just wanted to talk about 2 kits that I'm going to be putting together. The patterns are available on Ravelry, not through me, but I am putting together packs specifically for these patterns. They are 2 shawls which were both designed using the yarn available in the kits. The first one is the Sea Cravings shawl, which was designed by Therese of Brixton Pearl, and it is a gorgeous 3-colour faded shawl, absolutely massive and cosy and really lovely. And I've got the blue kits available, and I've also got that available in grey kits as well. And the second pattern is the Gentle Waves shawl, which is a brand new pattern released by Thistleglen Designs, and she designed it using my Sea of Adventure colourway and my Lost at Sea colourway. And again, it's a really, really gorgeous pattern, a lovely kind of gentle lace, a really, really nice shape. And again, I will have kits available for both of those patterns. Before I leave you, I wanted to just talk about bases. I am happy to dye up any of my colourways, any of my 100-gram colourways across any of my yarn bases. They may only have been shown in the footage on my merino nylon base because that's all I had dyed up and dry at the time I recorded the video. But I currently dye on 4 4-ply bases and 1 DK base. So I've got a 75-25 merino nylon, a 80% merino 20% bamboo, a 100% merino single ply, and a 100% high twist blue faced Leicester. And then I also dye on a 100% DK base, 100% DK, 100% merino DK base. So yeah, if any of those 100-gram colourways aren't available on the particular base that you would want, feel free to drop me a message and I will see what I can do. Anyway, I better leave it there before this video gets ridiculously long because I do like to talk. But thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for joining me for the virtual Wool Monty, and thank you so much for the Wool Monty for sorting out a virtual show when we can't all be there together in person. I will be there for Wool Monty 2021, and I am hopeful that I will be able to meet you all in person then, and things will be back to some level of normality, hopefully. But for now, thank you very, very, very much. Bye.